There once was a place enchanting your darkest desires. There once was a road that crossed all your tranquility. A fight for true love, a fall for timeless lust, secrets of the labyrinth, destroyed bonds at the glance in a mirror. Hearts closed, thorns in prison, a spirit hardened. Rise up, warrior, confess your truth. Join us inside Black Garden. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Grid Dominion podcast with your host, Dark Law. And I have an exciting couple guests on today's episode of Black Garden, episode 8 with the Hardys. Again, Black Garden is releasing September 2024. And so join us inside and welcome Mike and Joi Hardy out of Houston, Texas. Can you introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about yourselves?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Mike. I actually host a podcast called My Juice. I am husband to this beautiful lady across from me of 28 years. We've been together almost 30, but we've been married 28 years. And that marriage is we've had some ups and downs like any marriage does, but that's my rock. And I'm blessed to be here talking about it. So thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
And on to Joi.
My name is Joy. As he said, we have been married for 28 going on 29 years. We've been together almost 30. Um, have a whole host of kids, and happy to be here. I just don't know what else to
Awesome.
say.
All right, it's a great just happy to have you guys here on the Create Dominion. Thank you guys for coming. And so as I start with every episode, everything's not going to resonate with you. Again, they've been married 28 years, y'all. And so I don't want to age them, but that's actually older than I've been alive. And so I actually turned 28 in September. And so I just want to put that into perspective for the audience. They've been married as longer than I've been alive. And so, again, everything is not going to resonate with you all, but I hope you take something that you can apply to your daily life to become the best version of yourself and decree the dominion of your own mind. And so, again, Black Garden, we're going to dive into the deepest, darkest parts of dating, relationships, and marriages. And hope you guys are taking notes and keying in, because if you're out there and you're married and you're just getting started in your marriage, take some notes and take some advice, words of wisdom from a long-standing, stable married couple. And then if you're out there single and looking for your significant other, take notes on what to look for once you do find your other half. And so with that being said, first, can you guys tell me how you first...
I always get this wrong. So, honey, I'm gonna let you know.
All right. I'll correct you.
All right. So we're gonna take it back, man. We're gonna go back as far as high school. High school, we have mutual friends. I played high school football, and Joy was actually one of the managers because we had a co-ed thing going on in my school, and she and another one of her friends were actual managers of our football team. She, like I said, was very good friends with my best friend, and how we met, or how I would say, interacted. We didn't really interact. I always thought she had a little chip on her shoulder. because I used to think I told you hey, you said go ahead,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna say it. So, um, I used to think she used to walk around like a diva, and she didn't, she used to walk around like her stuff didn't stink, like she was high and mighty. But I've recently confessed to her that that's not the case. I just thought she was cute, but I didn't want to say nothing. So that was high school. We never had classes or anything like that together. The only true interaction we had was football and what went on in football, anything like that. Well, not the weirdest thing. Well, I'm not gonna say weird, but I'm gonna just say the oddest thing is that she and I have been around each other all of our lives. Um, now I know you've heard before people say, "Oh, that's my soulmate. That's my soulmate," and then you talk to them and you go, "How do you know that's your soulmate?" Let me tell you something, and we'll dive into that a little deeper. But this is the true culmination of the word soulmate. Everything about it, the situation. Like I said, we've lived around each other. It turns out that our families knew each other, and I never really knew her other than high school. We've grown up around each other. We, I'm not even gonna say like I would say maybe like a 2 block radius. From when I was younger, from when she was younger, we both lived in a certain part of Brooklyn called Crown Heights. Turns out
Not no Ground Heights, no.
you
I
lived
live
on
in
St. Mark's.
Flatbush. I've never lived on St. Mark, so who are you talking about?
Wait a minute, hold on. Can we pause this for a minute? No, all right. So this is what I'm saying. So
Your cousin lived on St. Mark's, but anyway,
all right,
we grew up in
all right.
Flatbush.
So, well, like I said, you could have said it, but you didn't want to. So let me tell my story. So,
That's what I said. I'll correct you.
all right. So there is a I want to say a long-standing relationship between us that didn't cultivate until after high school. I always thought she was cute. I just didn't. I was looking for. I just thought she had a little chip on her shoulder, and she didn't. What it is that we had a lot of jerks in our high school. Especially on the football team, and they would do and say things to the young ladies, whether they were on the cheerleading team or whatever. Guys being guys, just saying dumb, stupid guy things, and she really didn't go. She didn't jive with that. So anybody that came and spoke to her, this is just what I got. Anybody that came and spoke to her, she thought, "Hey, well, you just a jerk like the rest of them, so I'm going to treat you as such." I don't know. Let's fast forward to we left high school. I say, how many years later? How many years later would you say? Like 3, 4 years later?
Um, when you asked me out, I was
Yeah.
a sophomore at college.
Okay. So, so was that like 3, 4 years later?
I don't even know because I left school. So I left high school. I was a pregnant teen, so I left high school. Went and got my GED and went straight into college. So I don't even know like the timing. Basically, we grew up in the same area without having any. We grew up in the same area. People from from both sides of the family knew each other. We didn't know each other existed. We went to the same high school. Any interactions that we actually had, actually, there was no real interaction. Like, I was really close with his best friend. So anytime I would be standing there talking to him, talking to his best friend, just saying what's up, he would literally stand in front of me as if I wasn't there. Literally. Now, at the time, he was what, six what? He was 6'2" at the time? 6'3"?
With with
I
his
was 5. No, I probably was like 4'11" at the time. You would stand directly in front of me as if I wasn't there and start talking to him.
I was gonna get my point across one way or the other. So
Anyway, that's the interactions that we had. We really never really spoke to each other or said anything to each other. Other than I always thought he was a jerk. That was it. Until maybe after high school, my sophomore year, I went into a store where actually he had ended up working in. I think were you doing security in
yeah,
that store?
yeah.
Yeah. So I went in to get lipstick and he was trying to talk to me and I didn't want to be bothered because it was this type of situation where A lot of the guys in that area, and especially in the store that he worked at, how can I put this? They acted like they never saw a woman. If they saw a girl, if they saw a pretty girl, if they saw a girl that looked a certain way, if she had something form fitting, they kind of would like start panting type of situation. He wasn't like that. But, I just didn't want to be bothered. But he came up, the next day I ended up having to, like, I think a week later, I had to go back to the store and I needed to get something before going to school. And he stepped up to me, he talked to me like a gentleman, and he asked me out, which I never experienced because I was like, what, 19, 20? I was 19 or 20, something like that. And I was like, it kind of threw me off. I was like, did he just ask me out? Like, he said, yeah, I would like to take you out to dinner. It's like, okay, all right. I thought about it. My aunt, one of my aunts, I had a conversation with my aunt, and she was saying, if this guy want to take you out, let him take you out. You are young. You're supposed to have fun. I had a baby. I was going to college full time. I worked full time. And she said, if this guy want to take you out and show you a good time, let him take you out. So I said, okay, and that was it. From there, we went out on a date. The date was horrible, by the way. We went out on a date to go see a movie. We didn't talk. We didn't have any interaction with each other at all. It wasn't until he walked me home. That's where the date, and I should say the relationship blossomed from the conversation that we had. We talked about everything. And from there, it's been like that ever since. Like, you feel the flutter, the flutters inside, the out of breath, and you just want to tell each other everything. It's been like that ever since. Ever since.
I want to speak on that real quick. I hope you guys were listening to what they just said. Again, she said the actual substance of the date was horrible. And so I want to speak on some encouragement for the listeners and viewers out there. You don't have to wow a woman with materialistic things. Like they said, they were young, back, it's just a movie. You don't have to, go to the most fancy restaurant or wow a woman on the for a wonderful date. What she's saying is, the actual substance of the date was horrible with what they were doing on the date, but the intimate interaction afterwards is where they started to cultivate a relationship. And so, can you guys speak on, a little bit more on that first date and the importance of being persistent within getting to know?
Well, the whole thing is basically we were always in these circles and never actually connected. And then when we finally did, blossomed into a beautiful thing. But it did take a moment because we were young. So we weren't really thinking about actually going out to dinner. We said, okay, we're just going to go to a movie. Um, we went to the movie. We sat there. We didn't speak to each other at all. There was a guy that was in front of us that was cracking jokes throughout the whole movie because it was such a serious movie, which you shouldn't do on a date either. So, and I was laughing at his jokes, and Mike felt a little weird about that. But it was when he was walking me home. I don't even know how it started. We just started talking about different things, and we were making each other laugh, and we just had such a good time that we actually walked past my house, and we ended up walking all the way to the park, and we sat in the park and we talked, and it started raining, and we still sat there and talked. It's just sometimes when two people get together, the stars just fall in a line. Who God wanted you to meet, He made you meet that person. At when basically, I think God makes you meet the person when you're ready to meet that person. And I don't know, I can't really describe it. It's just it happened really fast, and what it did, it was deep. How the things that we spoke about to each other. It was everything from family family issues to ex relationships to just things that just made us laugh. It just yeah, it was like within maybe those moments of just talking, I don't know, it just blossomed.
So
I
the
just
one
felt it.
thing that I would like to add to this, the one thing that I'll piggyback off you, honey, about what you were talking about is the circles. I want to talk about the circles. Our circles was so close, but yet so far away. When I say close, and I talked about it earlier, um, and I guess I got the the time frame wrong about about living amongst around each other.
No, you were right.
But
You're
in
right.
high school, we lived around each other. But we'll go back to when we were like toddlers.
Yeah.
In junior high, hold on, in junior high school, my two sisters went to a junior high school in New York, in Brooklyn, New York, and her aunts went to the same junior high school. It turned out that they weren't best friends, but they knew each other, and that's one instance. The other incident is, and I say it to anybody who will listen, and it's because it's a reason why I say it like this. When you talk about destiny, that it was meant, it was truly meant. We were born in the same hospital. We were born in the same hospital. You can't get any closer than other than other
Well,
than
yeah, people have to understand. We grew up in New York. We were born and raised in New York. In New York, there are a lot of people in New York. New York is small. It's a small place, but there are so many different hospitals. There are so many different schools, and usually just because there's a school that's across from you, it's not necessarily a school that you're gonna actually be sent to go to.
be sent to go to.
So
Exactly.
that's why it's for us. It just seems so. It's just like far out for us. And I usually don't use that word, but yeah, it does because of the fact that we were born in the same hospital. We're 42 days apart. So we were born in the same hospital. There are several people in our family that actually knew each other beforehand. Uh, and we lived around the corner from each other, but never had any interaction until high school. And it wasn't even real interactions that we had in high school.
No, not at all.
And we knew the same people, we were friends with the same people, but we actually never had a conversation with each other. It was and there were times when I guess I was in school and then he wasn't in school because I think believe you were out of school for a little bit because you had a broken leg.
Right. I messed my knee up. Right.
And I think that's around the time when I was really, really around Claude all the time. Your
Hmm.
best friend. That's what I was around him the
Which
most.
was my best friend at the
Yeah,
time.
it was just it's just and then when you came back to school, I wasn't there anymore. I was doing whatever else. I had like I said, I was pregnant, so I was doing other things. It was just the way things went. Like we were supposed to meet earlier, but it never happened. I guess it didn't happen until we were meant to. That's what I meant to say earlier, basically.
But also, let me add to this. Me hurting my knee ruined a couple of scholarships that I had to go play ball. Had I've gotten any one of those scholarships, my destination was to go play pro ball. So it just seems that God worked it out. I got injured, and the way I got injured, I was done with high school ball. I more than likely couldn't play college ball. So it's just a lot that's happening that I look back on and I'm like, okay, this was predestined to be no matter what. And, during the times of, well, hey, listen, we've been together for a lot of years and we fuss like everybody else. The difference is that now we've grown up with each other. And there are times when, if we feel that the conversation is going to get a little heavier than it's supposed to, we both look at each other and we know time out. All right, I'm be in the garage. Now I see. I'm going to get ice cream. You want something? Something to that nature. But prior to that, when I was younger, it was there was no rules to the arguments. So it's just a matter of, do you want to put in the time? Do you want to put in the effort to make it work? And we looked in each other's eyes and decided that we're gonna make this work. We're gonna make this work. So God, we have, by God's graces, we have.
I'm glad you guys said, Joy, you said something early on in the story when you were talking about the movie date. You said God places people in your life when you're ready. And I hope you guys heard, not a lot of times we try to force things on our own accord, with own understanding. And, the Bible says, lean not to my own understanding. And sometimes we have to be patient and wait for God to place that person in our lives. And throughout your whole beginning part of your journey, again, you guys have spoken on just things being in alignment, right? You're in alignment. And I want all the viewers to understand God already has the story written out for you if you follow suit. He already has the alignment that you're supposed to be in. But a lot of times we as humans, we try to go against what we're supposed to be doing and kind of go on to a different course. And the great thing you said, Mike, as well, is like, and I want to give encouragement to the audience because what he said is he wanted to go play pro ball. He probably would have went to, any well-known college and played pro ball, Boston College or anywhere up north, in the New York, Massachusetts area. But what he said is when he got hurt, that allowed him to meet his soulmate. And I want to encourage the viewers that sometimes there's always light in the other side of darkness. Again, that's the whole theme of Dark Law, to create the Million Black Garden. And it's about finding light in the darkest of places. Because again, darkness is just the absence of light. And without light, there is no darkness without light. And so what they've been speaking on is that, whether it be raining when they're on the first date in a serious movie that they weren't really supposed to see on the first date, or him getting hurt with his knee and ruining his college aspirations and pro ball aspirations, that dark moment that seemed like a dark moment at the time was created the light to allow them to grow and blossom into a man and woman of God and grow up through without Christ and live a happy marriage. And so um, definitely commend you guys both on that. And I want to encourage all viewers to stay persistent in your walk and stay positive through times of trials and tribulations. And so on that topic, tell me about the time you realized that this is the one that you want to marry.
Do you want me to take that? Because if I
You
take
can
it,
go
I'm
ahead.
probably going to say something and you're like, no, that's not it. All right. Well, I have a couple of incidences, but one in particular that sits with me is so every other week we were we were dating, and every other week I break it up with her. I break it off with her. So this particular week I broke it off with her. And let me tell you something about my wife. She's of the mindset, if you don't want to be bothered with me, I'm not going to be bothered with you. And she'll make it perfectly known that she don't want to be bothered with you. She will walk past you like you don't exist.
Oh my gosh, you
So
gonna bring that up?
yeah,
Really?
I'm gonna say it because no, seriously, honey, that's truly when I realized that this is not going to work without you. And it was something simple. I was still working same at the same pharmacy, but she had got a job working down the block from me. And it was pretty cool because I would see her, passing, going back and
I
forth or
had
whatever.
that job before we started dating, thank you. Anyway,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. So she was gainfully employed before me. Okay, fine. But this particular day, I broke it off with her the night before. And this particular day, she had walked past to go and catch the bus home. So in order for her to catch the bus home, she has to go past the store. So, which was cool when everything was all right. I would see my baby, everything was cool. Well, this particular day she walked past, and it just so happens that she was walking with a coworker, and he was only a coworker. She didn't do anything to try to make it seem like they were together. She didn't do any of that. But me being 20 years old and not thinking properly and being immature about a lot of things, I didn't take it like that. I was like, you with this dude, and after that, we quickly got back together, and I realized then I was like, no, I can't do this without her. And we have been together ever since. Ever since. Now it's to the point where it got to a point where if I tell her I don't want to be bothered with it, she'll be like, all right, I'll call you later. So, but yeah,
So basically, if we had like a little tiff, let's say if we have like a little argument, which of course you're going to do when you get in a relationship, and especially when you're young, he'd be like, "Fine, it's over, it's over." I'd be like, "Okay, that's sorry you feel that way," and I would just go on about my business. And then he would call me back, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I was just angry about something." But that day when he saw me, I was walking past, my coworker was walking with me because he had actually lived down the block from where he worked. And on that way, I would grab the bus. And my coworker, he was talking about, he just got engaged to his girlfriend, and they have a baby. He was telling me about how, what it's like having a new baby, and how the baby was keeping him up all night, and I was giving him some advice because I have a baby as well, and telling him what they could do, to try to get a little bit more sleep. And of course, he Michael sees me, and he's like, "Oh, you got somebody new now?" I'm like, "No, I'm just walking. I'm going about my business." I think it was actually the next day you see me walking, and I didn't realize I walked past you because I was the type of person, I would just have my big old headphones on, blasting my music and just keep it moving. I'd be aware of my surroundings or who was around me, but make sure I wasn't in any danger. But I was just walking, just minding my own business. And he like grabs my arm, and I'm like, "What?" And he was like, "You don't see me standing here?" I said, "No, I didn't see you standing there." He's like, "Oh, so what was going on with you and your coworker?" It's like, "Nothing." I explained the whole situation. So, you just writing the relationship off? I'm like, "You told me that you was upset about something that happened between you and your brother, and then you said that you didn't want to hear anything I had to say, and you said it was over, that you needed some time to yourself or whatever." And I said, "Okay, fine. If that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do." And I think that he was just like, he was like, "No, I don't want it to be over. I just was angry and I said something I shouldn't have said." Okay, I said, "I understand that too." He ended up walking with me for a little bit, walked me to the bus stop and, talking and stuff like that, gave me a kiss, and then he said, "Can I call you tonight?" I said, "Yeah, you can call me." And then, we continued on from there. The thing is that when you're young in your relationship, you say stupid things to each other that you should not be saying. You do stupid things you shouldn't be doing. But the whole thing is that as time goes on, you learn. You learn what triggers the other person. That's number one. Things that make that person, that hurts that person. But number two, you learn together that basically it's kind of like you pick and choose your battles. Every fight does not have to be a fight. Some things just, some things you just agree to disagree. That's it. But it took some time for us to get to that point. Because like I said, when you're young, you really don't you don't think about it. And a lot of times when you bring children into the fold and you're working and you're on your grind, you say something stupid because you're aggravated about maybe something that happened at work or whatever. You just gotta learn. You just have to learn to either sit down and talk to your spouse, because that's actually that's your best friend. Your spouse is your best friend. Yes, you could, your sibling could be your best friend, and your parent or whatever, because some people, their parent is their person, but your spouse is actually your person too, believe it or not. Of course, you're gonna do things that's gonna aggravate one another, but you literally have to pick and choose your battles. Everything is not something that you need to get upset and huffy over. I mean, really, a lot of things like nowadays when we get into a little tiff, it's right over our head. I'm like, okay, you don't want to do this. That's fine. Let's talk about something else.
all right. So y'all all got that part. So I'm gonna say something real way to the left,
Here we
and you
go.
and you don't gotta be all into astrological symbols,
You
and
gonna bring that up too?
of
Oh
course,
my
of
gosh.
course. So,
Ah,
Miss Joy, tell them what sign you are. All right. What's your birth date? September, right? All right.
yes.
I
Oh,
am.
see, hold up. Did you acknowledge the thumbs up?
We're
Did you
both
acknowledge the thumbs
Virgos.
up?
All
September
right.
20th.
Ah,
September
All right.
20th.
I'm the 13th. I'm the 13th.
Okay,
All right.
7 days. My uncle
Woo,
the 13th.
woohoo!
Okay, go
Woohoo!
Virgo.
Woohoo!
All right, you go ahead,
Woohoo!
continue.
Woohoo! Listen, I love y'all anyway, but I am a Leo. I just
Hmm.
celebrated my birthday. So if you do anything with signs or whatever, I am a fire sign, and you guys, y'all know what y'all are. Y'all
We're
are
earth
what? Earth
signs.
signs. And I like because I've read it, but Joy also she has a different definition for it, but I'll say
Man,
mine. They are way on I'm on one side of the world, she's on the other. And when you read it, it's like we are gonna clash heads. This is what I got from reading
well,
it.
this is what we hear all the time from people. How are y'all together?
Yeah.
How is that possible? Don't y'all bump heads all the time? How could you stand each other? I know you can't take his mouth, girl. I know you can't take her mouth. It's just we hear it all the time. But I'm like, you could be whatever. You can okay, fine. I'm an earth sign. He's a fire sign. Okay, but that does not. Some people say it does, but it doesn't define every part of your life. They say that the two signs are not supposed to be together. That's what they say. They say majority of like the writing, it says that they're not supposed to be together. However, if they do get together, it can be a powerful union, but it depends on who's willing to back down. And me and him, neither one of us is willing to back down. Again, it's pick and choose your battles.
Right. Right. And you know what? I'll jump on that for a minute. That took, for me, it took a lot of learning and understanding. It's okay to say I'm sorry. It's okay to say I was wrong. It's okay to shut up and listen. You don't have to go to battle all the time. Sometimes it's just if you just sit back and listen. This is what I've learned. If you sit back and just listen,
Listen to the woman.
a lot of times they're okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I give you that. You even look, you even got him laughing. I give you that. Um,
The customer is always right. The wife, happy wife,
wow,
happy life.
wow. You said the customer's always right. Wow. I think, well, I know for me anyway, a lot of it is the majority of it is attributed to God and what God's word says. I had to learn to respect my wife and every aspect of it to understand where she was coming from. Now I don't always get it right, but the thing is that my intentions now, my intentions are with love and understanding, which I can honestly say I didn't have that in the very beginning of our relationship and marriage. Because you could say you're married, and that sounds great to everybody, but what are you doing everything you could to sustain that marriage, to actually respect that marriage? And it took some time, man. It took some time. It took some time, but and we're not perfect. We still work at it, but we work at it differently. We work at it now with an understanding of each other. At least that's how I
Yeah.
like to think about it. So,
Yeah.
I love how you said that because, again, like you said, us being Earth signs, the best sign in the world, by the way.
here we
For
go.
That's
the
right.
same Virgo.
Here we go.
That earth and fire, like I said, they always, and for those of you that do study astrology, I always say take everything with a grain of salt.
There you
You
go.
have the
Yeah.
power to decree the dominion of your own mind. You could be characteristic that you want to be. So you're not defined by what your sign is. You're defined by what you tell yourself in the mirror when you look at it every day, and you're defined by your actions and your applicable teachings day by day. And so
Amen.
I want to challenge the viewers real quick. Whether you're married or not, I want you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you respect yourself? Again, because Mike spoke briefly on respecting his wife, respecting his marriage when it comes to listening and coming to an understanding. But before you, and again, he said it took him some time. And the reason it took him some time is because we have to understand how to love and respect ourselves and then bring that to the table in union with your significant other to respect the marriage and relationship. And so the question I want everybody to ask in the mirror is, do you love and respect yourself? And a question that I always ask, uh, do you respect God's time? Because again, it's on God's time that allowed them to meet in the first place. And if you're out there and you're just getting in a marriage or just getting a relationship, and maybe it's the woman that you've been praying for a significant other, and they're finally here, you think they're finally here, ask yourself, are you respectful of God's blessings and his time? And are you going to cultivate and put in the effort to maintain that relationship? And so these are some of the questions you have to ask yourself, because again, what they're saying is they didn't get to a 28 happily abundant marriage overnight, y'all. Again, it took time, it took grace, and it took understanding and vulnerability to achieve that. And then on that tip, I know people are probably asking, how did y'all last 28 years? What are some of the hardest things that you've been through your marriage, and how did you guys get through that?
Well, I'm gonna say this. We went through a lot. We went through a lot of things. We had a lot of issues in our marriage. I mean, and we hit most of that stuff early on. I should say it hit us most of that early on. I mean, there was quite a few. I think the biggest was really around the time when his mother had passed, and that was early in our marriage. And for him being, yes, he became a grown man, but he was still young. And to lose his mother, it was a hard thing to watch. It was not only hard to watch, but it was a hard experience. Period. She was a wonderful woman. She was a wonderful woman. I loved her. It caused a huge rift in our marriage where other things start adding up onto it, which there were times I didn't think we were going to be able to come back from, but we did. We did. I tried my best to be there for him throughout the things that he was going through. He tried to be there for me. And then there was times where, how can I say, we just didn't even want to be bothered, but then we were brought back together again. We went through a lot of things, a lot of different things. So coming here to, um, I guess to celebrate our 28th anniversary. Yeah, 'cause we were together 29 years. Yeah, our 28th anniversary.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I just want to let you know, honey, I'm comfortable if you
No,
because
I
it
know,
looks
no,
like you're
no,
not. I'm
no, it's
comfortable
not
if you
that.
got something you got to say. I'm all right with it.
No, it's just, I just said there's a lot of things that we went through. We had huge, huge money problems as well. We had a lot of kids, and kids the thing of the time. But the thing is with us, even though there were times when we were on the outs with each other, anytime we needed to talk or had an issue, like if I had an issue with something, we still had that communication. Because there would be times where literally we did not want to look at each other. But yet, if something was going on, who's the first person we called? I called him, he called me. And we would just sit there and we would talk on the phone just like we did when we first started dating. And, you know, I guess that bond would just bring us back. Or, just sometimes, there be times I just wanted to, or I know all women know this, you just sometimes, you just want to smack him, but you can't because he's irritating you, either because he's not listening to what you're saying,
Wow.
or he's doing the same thing that he does all the time. Just and it's just that thing that just irks you.
Wow.
But then I look at him and I'm like, I love him, and
What are
because
you doing over there? I see you. What are you doing?
What do you say? She put some little lotion on and go inside your head.
Oh, man, audience, I wish y'all could see this man. What are you doing?
so I mean, you've had those. We had a lot of those moments where whatever it is that actually I felt like I wanted to walk away brought me back. Like I would just look at him and I would look at him and I'm like, I just wish he'd come and hug me or he'd come and kiss me or whatever. And I don't know, maybe he read my mind or whatever, but then when he would do it, that's the thing. And we kind of like, it's not that we forgot what we were arguing about. We just, I guess that was the way we were able to get close and actually talk about some of the issues that we were going through at that particular time and moment. But it was, it wasn't easy. And it was times we could have just walked away. I could have went on about my business. He could have went on about with his. But it's just that, the relationship and the bond that we have, that it's like it can't be broken. It probably could, but I don't want it to break. But I'm just saying, it just seems like it can't. It's a bond that just can't be broken. When it started that day when we sat and talked and it started raining on us, it just continued and it continued to get stronger and stronger, even though there were so many obstacles that came across our way. It just continued to get strong and stay strong.
That's when I have these conversations and people talk to me and they find out how long we've been together and we've got married and we got together at such a young age. And even at the age that we got married, all the naysayers, all the people that were saying, why you guys doing it so young? It doesn't usually work. Not saying, not they wouldn't tell us straight up.
No, yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Well,
There were a
they
couple
might have
people.
told you, but my side of the family, I didn't get that.
Your side of
I
the family.
got
Let me tell you something. I did hear from your people from your side of the family. It's not that they didn't want us together. They wanted us to wait. And there was just a lot. We did get a lot of that. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you just getting married? Why don't you guys just wait? Why don't you do this? I'm like, we got 2 kids. What you want us to wait for?
but you fast forward, and those are the same people that are asking us,
Yeah, to
when
write
we
it.
writing a book?
Yeah,
When is the
yeah. My
book
aunt.
coming out?
Yeah, I have an aunt who asks me that all the time.
You
When you
know,
guys will write this
but
book?
she's not. But just so you know,
She wasn't a
she's
naysayer.
not the auntie that was saying, "Why don't y'all wait?" No, 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 no. That's no. But she is the one that and auntie, we're gonna put the book together. We promise. When the book is coming out because we have a lot to say, man. We do, right? Like she was talking about. You name it, brother. We've been through it. We have been through it. And it's by God's graces is why I sit here today and she sits across from me. And we look each other in the face every night and commit to each other every night that, hey, it's not easy, but I can't make it without you. You can't make it without me. So let's continue. Continue to live in God's eyes and go forward. And that I think, it might sound a little sappy, but that's how it works. That's how it works. So we answered
Yeah.
your question, man. I'm sorry. We just kind of went off.
Awesome, awesome. And so again, like I said to the viewers, one word to describe their journey is resilience. Perseverance and resilience. What they're saying is you have to I want to talk to the viewers real quick. You have to build your marriage, your foundation through God. That's what they're saying. God is the true head of the household in any stable marriage, in any successful marriage. What they're saying is putting God first allow them to trust each other, allow them to be there to console and nurture each other. Um, there's one thing a lot of us just in my age group, a lot of younger relationships lack. One thing that Joyce said was even in the midst of arguing, in the midst of that anger and turmoil or disdain or like irritation, just wanting your husband or significant other to hug and kiss you. Again, not forgetting the affection, regardless of how you feel with the argument or what terms you're on. I think a lot of us miss that because we become self-absorbed within what they always say, get out your feelings, right? You become self-absorbed with your irritation or your mindset or what's going on. Oh, I can't believe she said that, or I can't believe he did this. What Mike and Joi are saying is they still found a way to come together, still found a way to persevere and to be resilient to life's challenges. I want to encourage the viewers, choose your hard. Marriage is hard, divorce is hard, choose your hard. Like I said, the bills, they talked about going through financial issues. The bills are going to regardless. Life's going to hit you regardless. Family moving on to glory. I just had an aunt that passed last week. Life's going to happen to you, but it's who you have in your corner, what foundation that you're grounded in, and the mindset that you decree on, and that's going to determine how you progress forward. And so I encourage the viewers, don't let anything that happens in life deter you from focusing on your assignment and your destiny. And, even through the darkest moments of a stable marriage, again, we've heard of, 28 plus year relationship. Uh, One thing they've said throughout this episode, they still went through life, y'all. They're not perfect. They're not angels. They still had bills. They still had what they say, a ton of kids. Um, they still had, mortgage, rent, electric bill, phone bill. They're not exempt from, they still, like you said, she was about ready to go upside his head. What they've said is they're still humans. And so a lot of times we look at long-standing, stable relationships as this unattainable goal that nobody can reach. Or, a lot of us, especially in the youth, they say, I don't want to get married. It's just a piece of paper. And we'll get to that in a second. But one thing that I want to address, um, again, 28 years is a long time, y'all. And so obviously there's been different racial stigmas throughout that time. And so throughout the course of the past in multi-generations, 28 plus years, have you both been able to maintain a stable Black family uh, through the midst of, different trials and tribulations in regards of race, and just kind of seeing the family dynamic shift within the Black community?
Um,
Ooh.
yeah, I want to say, absolutely. That is the okay. So, so one of the things that my older sister she calls us a clan. And why is that? Because we all go together. When we moved from New York to Texas, we all went. My oldest son, he at the time he was old enough to be on his own. He was supposed to stay in New York. He said that he was going to come out to help us settle in, and he was going to catch the next plane back to New York. Well, we've been in Texas almost 10 years, and he's still in Texas. So, you know, the one thing I will say, and we'll get back to that subject in a minute, but the one thing I will say, as far as talking about, we have had our ups and downs, but it was no bearing on our children. Same rules so apply. What mom says goes. What dad says goes. I didn't overstep my bounds when it came to the kids, and she didn't overstep her bounds when it came to the kids. And that is a mutual respect, because you hear nowadays when relationships don't work out and they have a child, you don't want to go see your daddy don't want you to be with him, or your mama is cheating on me, she doing this, something like that. And they don't ever keep the kids first. And that is the one thing that I could honestly say throughout the whole 29 years, because we've been together 29 years, we've been married 28. That I can honestly say, we never involved the children at all. That was a mutual respect and understanding that we had between each other. First of all, whenever we said we was breaking up, I don't even think it lasted very long.
Yeah, a week.
You know,
Well,
so that right there, if there has to be some sort of mutual respect. Whatever your common ground is has to be that mutual respect. And at the time, our common ground was the kids. Was the kids. We always made sure that everything was taken care of for them. She couldn't, if we were fussing or whatever, she would still call me, hey, so we, so and so needs this, we gotta make sure this is done. All right, cool, I'll make sure it's done. And we would do that. I think that's the biggest thing, man. You gotta have a common ground, and our children was our common ground. So, I know I veered off to the left a little bit, but I hope I answered
no,
that
because that
question,
that
man.
is a part of it. That is a part of it. You can still have a good family dynamic and not be together. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. You can respect one another, but as long as you are right there for your children, first of all, your children are supposed to come first. You're supposed to always make sure that they're taken care of, that they're fed, they have a place to stay, that they don't have to worry about, when we gonna have something to eat, or when we gonna are we gonna have clean clothes to go to school. A child should never have to go through that. Not that we went through that. The only thing, the issues that we had growing up, we both came from a single parent household. My father was not in my life. He tried to check on me through my mother, but he was not in my life. He never had a conversation with me or anything. I know he held me as a baby. That's all I know.
And my
You know,
father passed away when I was 2 years old,
yeah, your father was taken from you. That's something different
so
by
I
someone.
never, ultimately, I never had the opportunity like our kids have today. You know,
Yeah, so we both came from a single parent household. His parents were married, my parents weren't. Um, and I think that is a part of it. I can't really answer as to why the relationship dynamic and why a lot of people don't get married today, because it seems like every so often they things change and things evolve. When we were born, there was a lot of single parents. It was a lot of single parent households. And then for a short period of time, it seemed like it went to two-parent household and then back to single parent. I don't know why the dynamic is like that. People will say oh, it's just that's just how it is. It's not just how it is. It's what you choose. And if that's what you choose to, that's how you choose to live. If we break up, there's no way in the world I'm gonna just totally cut him out of our children's lives, because that would hurt. That would Yeah, it would hurt him, but that would be hurting the kids. And then you have a bunch of kids who are growing up dysfunctional. So the only way to change the cycle is to not do that. That's number one. But yeah, I couldn't tell you
well,
what the cause or the changes when it comes to the family dynamic nowadays,
you know,
as far as the black household.
it's funny.
I
We had a relatively same question that was posed on the last podcast we did, and I still to this day feel the same way. A lot of it has to do with this whole quote unquote cancel culture. You don't like something, they cancel it.
Well, yeah, I guess you was.
Um, you don't like how the movie went, or somebody spoke to you the wrong way, cancel it. You don't got to deal with them. That somehow, some way seeps into any kind of relationship. If you constantly hear it and you constantly hear it and you constantly witness it, what gets caught in your ears gets stuck in your brain. So, with that being said, the kids today, I know because we have children who are millennials and they are so quick to disassociate with anything. I'm not even going to say negative. Anything that they feel is not prudent to for them is not. It doesn't even have to be negative. It's just if it doesn't line up for them, they'll disassociate. They want nothing to do with it.
Well, can I say something? I mean, in a way, yes, you're right. You're definitely right about that. But it's the other thing. The other thing is that since you brought that up, they don't want to work at anything. A lot of time, everything needs to be quick and easy, but life is not quick and easy
Right.
because everybody thinks that, oh, okay, I'm not gonna get a job. I'm not gonna go out there and go to school and get a job and work for a specific company. I'm gonna be my own boss, which is cool, but it doesn't always work out that way. So a lot of people think, okay, I'll just I'll create some crazy content on YouTube, and as long as I get a certain amount of people, that view, I'll get paid like that, and that's how it'll always be.
You
But
know,
that's and it's just going to be easy and simple like that until they have to face something that not necessarily it could be something that's tragic, or it just could be something that's just whatever comes anything that comes in their path. They don't want to work to resolve it. Everything has to be easy. That's what it seems like.
and we
Everything
don't
has to be
and
easy.
we don't really want to paint the picture that that's every child out there. That's not. That's not. But you gotta admit it. If this is what's being put in our face, that they'd rather stay home and live with their parents until they're 40 years old, or they work a job, like Joy was just talking about, they work a job, they're 2 months into the job and then they just up and quit. It's hard not to say anything against that. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to say that that's not them, when all the evidence is pointing to that. So, to answer that question, man, I think it has a lot to do with how today's society is. It's easy to cancel something rather than work at it. And a lot of it I feel a lot of it also has to do with everything that Joy was saying. They don't want to build a foundation. They just want to get it and go.
See, like this is a podcast, and it's talking about relationships and it's trying to educate. You'll have these other people out here who will, let's say, slap each other for 5 minutes. And because it gets all these views, because it's just so stupid, they've like, okay, I'm just gonna continue to do that because it's easy and I'm just gonna be set for life. I'm
Oh
gonna make a
Lord.
couple of million like that. No, and that
Oh
you
Lord.
come on.
We got the Virgos laughing. Lord, both of y'all over here laughing.
Or you say
But you know what I'm saying.
the Cash
You
App
know what I'm
crew.
saying. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the
exactly.
only
Yeah.
Exactly.
OnlyFans and Cash App crew.
Oh,
Exactly.
don't get me started on that. Now, I'm not knocking anybody who has OnlyFans page. That's what you want to do. Hey, there's a market out there for it. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. I am not like on anybody, but it's just like I came across this video and these people were just slapping each other, and I'm like, what is this? What
But the
is
scary
this?
part about it is that if you look at the how many people have viewed that video, it's in the tens of thousands or even the millions.
And because of that, they'll get some sort of deal.
Yeah,
They're
YouTube
gonna
wants
get
to give
paid.
them a deal, or one or another social medias want to give them a deal. Hey, you got these many likes, we'll give you $500,000 for each 1,500 likes or whatever, as an example. It's just there's just I think personally in this day and age, man, there's no groundwork. Like what we talked about earlier today, there was a groundwork. There was a groundwork. There was a level that was built and determined, and I don't see that in this day and age. And like I said, we've been witness to it because we have teenage kids, so we can talk about it. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, such and such makes jewelry. I'm just gonna, they buy jewelry from someplace and then um they sell it to them and then they're gonna sell it to me and I'm gonna sell it. What? Yeah, I'm gonna just make a web page and just sell it like that. Or just sell it to the kids at school and I would make excess amount of profit. No, no, no.
but here's the
That's
scary
not
part.
that doesn't pay the
Here's the
bills.
scary part about that. As much as Joy is saying no, as much as we're finding out as an example that their friends are gobbling this stuff up. So we're not gonna stay stuck on this, man. But I just feel like there's no groundwork. And because of how society is with the cancel culture attitude, they don't want to build that groundwork. It's easier to say, I'm gonna just quit you and then be done with it. You know, that's just my take
It's
on it.
like a McDonald's mentality.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and it's funny you say that because McDonald's used to be the you can get it pretty much your way.
No, that's Burger King.
Well, what okay, so Burger King. I'm sorry. Whatever those few food places, whatever. But you get it your way. You get it your own way. And that's just how the kids are today, man. If they can't get it their own way, they cancel it.
But see, they can't. But the thing is, you can't do that if you impregnate somebody.
I
You
know
know what I'm
that.
saying?
I know that, and you know that. But
Because once you have a baby with somebody, whether you in a
ish,
relationship or not, you still got to deal with them. You got to deal with them till that child turn 18. And let's say if you don't want a relationship with that child, from whether if you decide to give up parental rights, if the other person takes that child, they will take you to court and get whatever money
that's
they
a
can get.
whole
I know, but
that's a
let me finish.
whole
But let
nother
me finish.
podcast.
But that I know they will take you whether it's male or female, because it's been happening to females now lately. You still got to pay for that child till that child turns 18, and some states maybe 21.
Yo,
So there's still going to be a relationship there, some sort of relationship,
yo,
whether it's one that you want to have or
yo,
don't
lady,
have.
poke your head around. Okay,
Whatever. No, no,
it's for another podcast.
whatever.
All right. I'm sorry, D. We back. Go ahead, man.
No, I'm just playing. It's awesome, awesome. And so, again, like I said, just make sure you're laying down a foundation for the relationship and marriage that you want for yourself. And so, like I said, so I'm going to do something special for the viewers because I'm sure they're like, wow, 28 years of marriage. We've learned a lot thus far. I want to let you guys, I'm not going to ask any more questions. I'm going to let you guys wrap it. Give the viewers some of your best tips and advice for not just a long-standing marriage, but how to build yourself and how to, you know, create a union amongst each other to motivate and be there for each other. Just go ahead, rapid fire on any advice or any motivation you want to give the
Whew,
viewers.
rapid fire, huh?
All right. So the first thing that you must understand is that when you're dating, that first date, you are not dating that person. You are dating their representative. So everything, what I mean by that is exactly what I'm saying. You're meeting the best that they got at that time. So that's what you got. Whether that date goes further or it doesn't. If it doesn't go any further, that's fine with them. They didn't give you their best. It's after the date. It's after as my mother would say, the best Biv and Tucker. It's after that. What do you do? How do you respond to it if you are not seeing eye to eye? And I think you have to find, like I said, and I said this before, man, you have to find a mutual common denominator. Something in that relationship is what brought y'all together. You have to find that again. So I challenge your viewers, find that something. So that's my rapid fire.
Okay. I really don't know. I think I pretty much said it. I kind of live by that. Literally, I still stand behind pick and choose your battles. What is really important to you? What was really something that is down to your core. Pretty much like you want to let somebody is it a respect thing or is it a money issue or whatever? Because to find first of all your self worth, you don't let anybody disrespect you. That's number one. You are a person. You are loved. You are you are a child of God. Therefore, no matter difference what religion you're referring to, but you have to always remember that your self worth, respect is up there. You have to make sure that you are respected. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to a spouse, it has to be somebody that you can talk to. And when I say talk to, I mean somebody who listens to you. somebody who listens to you, somebody you find common ground with, and not for nothing, someone who you find attractive. Because if you don't have that attraction, it's not really gonna go anywhere. If you don't have that, if you're not able to sit and talk with that person, it's not gonna go anywhere. You have to have, to me personally, you have to have those two. You have to get me with your mind. I have to have a good conversation with you. I have to be able to laugh with you. And from there, I have to be attracted to you.
So you're saying I'm a stud?
Don't start with me, boy. Don't start with me. Don't start with me. And when it comes to, if it comes to anything that you have a problem with, again, you have to pick and choose your battles. Everything is not worth fighting for, and some things are worth fighting for. You need to recognize which is what is important to you.
Communication is everything. And that sums up just about everything that we just talked about. It's communication. It is, I'm not afraid to tell him or her what you said was offensive to me. Because first of all, a lot of times, and I learned that with us, you know, a lot of times I wouldn't know if I said something offensive because her personality is she just kind of like goes off on her own. I wouldn't know. And me not knowing, you go off and you say it again. And now you building it up until she what explodes.
Oh yeah, because I'm a Virgo.
You know, and it could have all been prevented with communication. Hey, Mike, I don't like how you said this, babe. Or what do you mean by that? So the one thing that I learned, and because every Friday we have a men's meeting in the morning, and the one thing we talked about was communication. And one of the things one of the brothers pointed out, he was like, "Listen, so one of the tricks I do every time my wife says something to me, I repeat it to her." And I was like, "That's at first I was like, that's kind of weird. Why would you?" And then it hit me. No, that's not weird because it's to make sure that both of y'all are hearing the same thing. And if you get it wrong, she's like, "No, that's not what I mean." There's room for correction. You know what I'm saying? And it just has to be communication because your communication comes with room for correction, which avoids a lot of everything else. That's just how I
And
look at it.
and you are absolutely right, because when we were first got together, a lot of times if you would say something or do something that pissed me off, I wouldn't say a word. I would just look at you and I would go off about my business because I'm an introvert, and I'm just used to, if I have a problem, I just deal with it. I'm just used to dealing with myself and just taking care of it myself. I grew up in a single parent household. And it was just me. So if I had an issue, I got me. I got me, and Imma handle it. Imma figure it out. If I got into it with somebody or somebody said something that was offensive that I thought was offensive, I'll be like, "I see where you coming from. You mean nothing to me." That's how I used to handle things. Now getting in a relationship and having a marriage and a family, I had to realize that you can't do that. You can't just feel like, okay, you said something mean to me or whatever. I'm just not going to talk to you for the rest of the month or whatever. You just can't be like that. I had to learn you can't be like that. He kind of taught me you have to open your mouth. You have a problem, say what you need to say. That's it. Basically, that's figuring
It's
out your
just
self worth.
it's just communication, man. That sums it up. It's communication. Where's your communication level? Are you afraid to say I did something wrong?
Yeah,
Are you af-
he's a person that's not afraid to tell somebody what you did wrong. And I used to be a person who I just wouldn't say anything.
right?
I had to learn.
But I was afraid. I was that person that was afraid to admit that I was wrong. That I was wrong. It was easy for me to point you out, but for me to come up and honestly say, "Hey, I got that wrong. I apologize." That took a lot. You have to ask yourself, all right, I'm in this relationship. I'm getting into this relationship. Am I committed to being everything he or she needs? Am I committed to being that vulnerable, that open? So, because if you're not, don't waste your time. because
I
you're going to
mean,
end up hurting yourself.
and that's the thing. People like, I can't be vulnerable, but you fall asleep next to this person each night.
I go you one better. I go you one better. You trust that person with your toothbrush. I hope we answered your question, man. I hope we got it for you.
Awesome, awesome. And so, just to add, a lot of things what they said with the communication is listen to understand, not to respond.
Yeah.
Again, listen for understanding and not to just respond and rebuttal. Because a lot of times, with not necessarily just arguments, but with conversations or disagreements, we're just trying to get the other person to hurry up and finish so we can, answer, so we can prove our point. And, within a marriage and a stable relationship, just make sure you're listening to actually understand and hear the other person out and then come to, like Mike said, all episode, come to a common understanding and common denominator to meet in the middle and kind of, GG, shake hands and move on with your life. And so, with that being said, can you tell the audience how they could find podcasts? And
All right. I am on Facebook under My Truths Podcast. I am on YouTube under My Truths Podcast. My email address is mytruthspodcast@gmail.com. We are going to spin off into, because we've been asked this, and I guess, I'll sit down and talk with Joy over it. But I think we're going to spin off into a relationship podcast, like maybe once or twice a month. So y'all look out for that.
And so this has been Black Garden, episode 8 with the Hardys, Mike and Joi Hardy out of Houston, Texas. And so before we head out here, again, look in the mirror one last time as you're listening and viewing and ask yourself, like they said, are you willing to commit? Are you willing to the best version of yourself, become the best version of yourself for your significant other? Are you willing to put in the work and lay the foundation for your future marriage, relationship, and abundant life?
Hey, I'm
Ask
sorry.
those questions. And then Mike also wants to.
Hey, my apologies, man. I'm gonna
No.
cut you off. But while you're looking in the mirror, I need you also to look at that your significant other, and while you're looking at them, ask yourself, am I willing to be all they need? Am I willing to be all I need? Because you can't be us without you. So you need to ask yourself those questions. And if it doesn't add up, you need to learn to bow out gracefully. And I think that's the biggest thing. People are so afraid of nowadays to learning to bow out gracefully. You don't always have to have a breakup where it's just drama. You know, you could gracefully go your own way. But that's for a whole nother podcast, man. That you hopefully you'll invite us to. But dude, we had an awesome time. Thank you so much for having us, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Awesome. And so again, this has been Black Garden episode 8. Hope you guys took something that you can apply daily to your life and decree the dominion of your own mind. Again, look out for Black Guard debuting in September 2024. It's going to be a power-packed series. And make sure you follow the Winner Circles podcast, Successful Toy podcast, Blemish Beauty, Verbal Tea, Breaking the Silence, Real Talk Mondays with Rev J Studios, Decree of Dominion. Go ahead and follow us on Spotify, Facebook, and check out our new website. And also, as always, follow Mahogany Speaks. This has been Dark Law. Until next time, we in the Hardys out of Texas. We out. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Create Dominion podcast with your host, Darklaw. Be sure to follow and like on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, and go ahead and follow our Facebook and Instagram pages as well. We hope that you took something and resonated with it, that you can apply it to your daily life to become the best version of yourself and decree the dominion of your mind. Remember, decree and declare and take back your rightful throne and your rightful place into the best version of yourself. Thank you.